So here we go for the walkthrough for AQA Foundation GCSE Maths. It's the November 2023 paper 1, which means keep your calcs in your bag. Got a head start because I'm trying to work my mouse here. So 2 cubed, cube a number means multiply by itself again and again, not 6 because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. On the next one, could do them in any order. Could do the takeaway £1.30 first. I do say £1.30 because a lot of people do prefer to think of these questions as cash. Doesn't matter as long as you get £5.52. I assure you that's a 2. And so you end up with £4.22 as your answer. On to question 2, bit of measuring. Obviously, I haven't got an overlay, so it's just a case of the perfect answer, according to the mark scheme, is 70. You're allowed to be within 2, inclusive, and measuring angle Y. Make sure you use the right side of your protractor. It's 32 is the perfect answer, again, plus or minus 2. Number 3 has literally infinity answers. Just put anything in obvious, don't try and be a smart aleck. 4 as the open end, that's 4 is greater than 3.7. Or in other words, 3.7 is less than 4. But any number you want that's 3.7 above, so 3.71 obviously is where you want to be above. Which number is at A? So if you check, it's going up 1, 2, 3, 4, not the usual 5 or anything. So it is not 1.2. It's going up. That's your halfway point, and that's half your halfway point. So that number is 1.25. Next one. So what's happening here? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are going up in the 5 steps. So 5 steps to go up 1,000. Each step is going up 200. So we're stepping down to the left. So it's minus 3,400. On to number 5. So, strange looking sort of starry shape here. Order of rotational symmetry. If you do a quick count up, because there's nothing irregular about it, it's a regular shape, but do a quick count up, it will have 10. Alright, because each little sort of pointy bit, there's 10 of them. And so it's rotational symmetry order 10. Some algebra for question 6. So you've got 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 of something. You'll have 4 of that something. Factorize means put brackets in and take out common factors. The only thing these two terms have in common is they're in the 5 times table. 5 times A gives you 5A, and 5 times 2 gives you 10, which is the x opposite of expand. 4 times 10 is 40. 4 times negative 1x is negative 4x. On we go. Number 7. Ollie and Rachel run a marathon race, etc., etc. So Ollie starts at 9:15. Now, easy to take it one thing at a time. He takes add on 3 hours, and we get to 12:15. And just be careful, that means it's gone into PM. Alright, but then he's got 3/4 of an hour, which is 45 minutes. 45 plus the 15 takes us up to the next hour. So Ollie finishes at 1 PM. For B, Rachel has a target time of 4 hours 10. In other words, 4 60s, 4 6s are 24, so that's 240 minutes plus 10. So Rachel's target time for running is 250 minutes. She's been running for 186 minutes. I'll do this using add-on. 186, we need 14 to get to 200, and we need 50 to get to 250. So Rachel needs to keep going for another 64 minutes. Number 8. Now, as soon as I see it, before even reading the question, it's worth filling in. Car 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 23. Bus is 12. Van's 5 plus 4, 9. And lorry is 4. So the number of cars is more than the total of the other vehicles. So let's have a look at the other vehicles. 12 plus 9 is 21. The other vehicles are 25. The cars are 23. So it says, is she correct? No, because 25 is 2 bigger than 23. And you can flesh that out a little bit in your answer. So, as you can see for 8B, I've cheated. No one wants to see me struggle with technology. So obviously use a ruler, keep the bars the same width, and make sure you label and get all the heights correct. And that'll be an easy 3 marks, as long as all your numbers follow through from the numbers here. Hopefully you got those correct. On we go. Number 9's a strange one. Your starting point has to be the smallest. Alright, the only way, alright, you can make 7 is like so. Alright, with 3 digits, because you can't go 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So next best one to go for is 15, because you're going to need to use, obviously, I would advise using a pencil in an exam. Have a play around with these. But 15, going for the next 2 smallest numbers available, 3 and 5 makes 8, and that gives you the 7. When it comes to the 24, you can use, again, the next smallest numbers, 6 and 8, and that gives you 14. So the other one required is 10. And the only numbers you've got left are 9 plus 11 is 20. So although it looks like there's hundreds of different combinations, not really. Think about the only way you can make 7, the only way you can make 32. 32 can't be made any other way, because if that changed to a 10, you'd have to reduce that. Couldn't use a 10, has to be go back down to 9. So there's only a finite number of ways you can start the question if you look at the smallest numbers and if you look at the largest numbers. It's definitely a strange question, but one worth persisting with. Number 10. So you've got a regular pentagon. So that's 5 sides. So before you read on, that means each side is 20. And if you plonk a square on, they've all got the same length. 20, 20, 20. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7. And that's it. 7 lots of 20. Nothing more complicated. No need to fill up all these nonsense lines. That's it. That's your 3 marks. Move on. So, Eric works for 10 hours, paying no tax, receives £90. First thought, before you even read on, we're looking for £9 an hour. Earn your first mark. Eric works for 15 hours, so 10 nines and 90. 5 nines are 45. We can add them on. He can expect to earn £135. But there's a part B to this. So, some extra details. In fact, he gets an extra 50 pence an hour. So he's from there, he's getting 15 50p's. 15 fives are 75. So thanks to the extra money, he is up £7.50, but he's down £8.90. So he's actually going to end up being down £1.40. Either do column subtraction or a bit of mental arithmetic. So in actual fact, he's getting less money than he expected in part A, thanks to these new facts. Number 12, loads of right answers for this. I try to stick with the obvious. Alright, the mode is 9. Get your pencil, pop in plenty of 9s. Done. Now if I've got a 9 here, I want the median to be 13. So the total of the middle numbers must be 26. Now obviously if I only had 2 9s, this would cause me a problem. So 3 9s are required. You don't want 2 9s, 2 17s. That means you've got 2 modes. The range is 11. So in goes the 20, like so. Okay, just thinking about it, I think that's the only right answer. I'll have to think about that one. Number 13, even number of sides, more than a square, so 6 or 8. Fewer than a decagon, so that's it. So it's a hexagon or an octagon. I'll leave you to flesh that out. Number 14, you've got a couple of ways of doing this. Alright, you could draw a table of values and select some friendly values of x and sub them in. But I'm going to do it the y equals mx plus c version. So y equals mx plus c means it crosses at -6. And it's got a gradient of 2. So for every 1 unit across, it goes up 2 units. This happened 2 units vertically, happens to be corner to corner of a square. So let's get my ruler and let's go corner to corner. And that's all you needed, but it would have worked out with the table of values as well. Number 15. So 8 goes into 16. So we can just take the 5/8, double the top, and double the bottom. Whoops. And so that means we've now got 13 plus 10. That's 23 over 16. How many times does 16 go into 23? 1, with a remainder of 7. And that's your lot for the fractions. So a bit of shape for number 16. So 2 of the vertices are 7 along, 3 up, 7 along, 7 up. So the third vertex is going to reflect over here because it's got the length of the base is 3. It needs to be over there, and that's at the coordinate 10 along and 3 up. The line of reflection, let's pop it in so we can just see it slightly out. But it's a vertical line. Vertical lines, they're not. Don't forget, another name for the y-axis is x equals 0. So vertical lines are of the form x equals the number they go through. So for this one, it's x equals 6. So a wordy one for number 17, but as always, one thing at a time. Ali has £80. He gives 9 tenths to Joe. So he keeps 1/10. So 1/10, if we divide by 10, that's £8. So he gives the rest, that's £72, goes to Joe. Joe spends 2/3 of it. Alright, so that means he keeps 1/3. Our best way to find a third is divide by 3. Feel free to do bus stop or mental arithmetic as long as you get £24. So £24 is how much he gives back to Ali. So Ali has £32 in total. What fraction of the 80, of over, in this case 80, there we go. Give it in its simplest form. They're both in the 8 times table, but actually they're both in the 16 times table. Divide the top by 16 and the bottom by 16, but you could have divided by 8 and then 2. So, more number work, but this time of the BIDMAS kind. So, BIDMAS, as we know, brackets first. So inside the brackets, we also have to follow BIDMAS. So indices first. So 2 squared is 4. 4 plus the 5 is 9. So 1 done. Again, though, BIDMAS comes into play. The multiplication comes first. 9 fours are 36. 100 take away 36 gives us 64. And when you square root 64, you get 8. And some smart Alex out there will always be reminding us of plus or minus 8, but the mark scheme is fine with either. A union B, so on your Venn diagram, there's A, there's B, there's both. So A union B means all together. It's happy with A, it's happy with B, and it's happy with both. That's your lot. Number 20. So whatever amount, I will double it. All right, so let's take if Salma raises £100, her mum will add £200. No need for loads, because when she raises 0, her mum will give her 0. Now, then it says total. So when she raises £100, mum donates £200. That means for £100 raised, she actually has a total of £300. So a slightly steeper line for the second graph. On to number 21. Just simply learn your trig values, people. And if in doubt in an exam, always guess 0, half, or 1. But cos of 90 is actually 0. So for number 22, I only focus on the powers. So let's look at the first bracket. 8 squared times 8 to the 1. That's going to be a power of 3. Second bracket is a divide. 9 take away 5 is going to be a power of 4. These are divided, so you subtract the powers. 3 take away 4 is -1. Another way of writing a minus power is 1 over. But it wants it as a decimal. So either work out your bus stop. What am I doing? Like so. Or have the knowledge that it's 0.125. Or to find an eighth, start with 1, halve it, you get a half, halve it, you get a quarter. So do it with money. Half a pound, you get 50p, half a pound, you get 25p, half that, you get 12.5 pence, or in this case, 0.125. Number 23, as with a couple of the questions, there's infinity answers. Simply change the +1 to any number you want, positive or negative, as long as it's not 1. Number 24, scatter graph, but it's actually done for you. So, on the second page, which I'll not go to, it says describe the relationship. Now, when you're asked to describe the relationship, you can't just put positive. That's describing the correlation. Describing the relationship means as the number of downloads increases, the number of CDs sold increases. You've got to be specific on that. That's why it gives you 3 or so lines and a bit extra just in case. So don't just put a one-word answer. It needs a sentence, and the best sentence contains the labels on the axes. Part B, though, it says that on the first day it has 9,000 downloads. So, apologies for my poor technology. 9,000 downloads is 5,400 CDs sold. So, 5,400 CDs being sold, you need to treble it. It comes out at £16,200. Then we get 9,000 downloads. So I'll do 25 times 9. And that gives me 22.5 if I was doing 2.5, because 9 twos are 18, looking for a number. So 2.5 times 9 is 22.5, but it's not times 9, it's times 9,000. So it's 22500 is the money made from the downloads. We've got the money made from the CDs. You need to add the two together. 500 plus 200 means the answer ends in £700. 22 grand, 16 grand, £32,700 made in total. 70% of a number. Keep it simple. If you know what 70% value has, then you can divide by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So 350 divided by 7 is 50. We want 120% of a number, so times by 12. 12 fives are 60, so 12 50s are 600. Number 26. The graph's already drawn for us, that's nice. Use the graph to estimate the solutions. So there's a solution, that's 2.5, exactly halfway pretty much. And there's a solution, there's 9, there's 10, halfway between 9.5. But the mark scheme gives you a quarter either way. So 2.25 to 2.75 and 9.25 to 9.75 for the second solution. If you want to write x equals, that's terrible, but feel free to write x equals. It's all up to you. Number 17, no doubt one that puts most people off, but don't. Just stick with it. Area is pi times the radius squared. Now, if you square this number, you square the top and you square the bottom. That's it. When it comes to shape B, again, it's pi times, now the radius squared is 25. But it's not a full circle, it's a sixth of a circle. So as you can see, they're very similar. How close are they? Well, we know that the pi has the same value in both. It's really wanting us to compare the coefficients, the numbers next to. So 4s into 17, 4 4s are 16, 4 2s, and so on. We'll stop there, because that's 4.2. The right-hand shape, shape B, is 6s into 25. Well, 6s into 24 is 4. There's another remainder of 1, but 6 goes into 10 once. So it's close, but as you can see, shape A is greater than B, because it's 4.2-ish pi centimetres squared compared to 4.1-ish pi centimetres squared. Factorising, it's a quadratic, so 2 brackets required. And your job is to think of pairs of numbers that multiply together to make negative 24 and add together to make positive 2. I get negative 4 and positive 6. The brackets could be in the other order. When you times by 10 cubed, you essentially take the 2, times it by 10, again, and again. And finally, you could do it an alternative way, but seeing as you've already done the left-hand number, why not stick with it? The right-hand number times 10 to the minus 1 means move the number to the right, so it makes it 0.5, not 50. Now it wants 1 on the right-hand side. How do I turn that into 1? I double it. So I'll double the left-hand side as well. A little bit easier than you might have thought for that one. But that concludes the walkthrough for this AQA paper, non-calc. I'll see you on the next one.